I'm not much of a point-and-click adventure person. It's not that they're bad games, because many of them are supposedly really good. They often have some awesome hand-drawn art and great humor to them. I'm just bad at them. I play them for a few minutes, get lost because I can't figure out where to go or who to talk to, and I quit because I feel stupid. It's the truth. However, there was one game when growing up that I played many, many times, because it was just so fun and engaging. That game is Titanic, Adventure at a Time. I think one of the reasons why I like this game so much is because of the premise behind it. You play as a secret agent to the British government in 1942. You had failed a previous assignment, and when the Germans bombed your London apartment, you were sent back in time to the year 1912. You end up in cabin C-73 on the famous Titanic cruise ship.
Good evening.
About a minute after you wake up, you hear a knock at the door and meet Smeddles, your steward. He passes along a note to meet someone in the gymnasium. When you make your way up there, you meet Penny Pringle, a woman who is there to help you succeed on your mission to find a book of poems called the Rubaiyat. You're told a German man named Seidel has it, and the British government wishes to have it. Of course, this isn't your sole mission, as there's a lot more than meets the eye in this story. That's where the fun lies. Perhaps what is most interesting about this game is that you have nearly free reign on the ship to accomplish your mission. The areas you can visit on the Titanic were accurately created for this game. Of course, you can't access everything, but what you can check out is awesome. You can walk around the ship's deck, climb the grand stairway, visit some of the cabins, and even head down to the boiler rooms, where you'll get harassed by the staff. It's all a great and engaging atmosphere. Of course, with the mission, you're going to need some supporting characters to assist you or hold you back. Live actors were used for these, and although the quality of the people is a bit sketchy when walking around the ship, once you begin a conversation with someone, the character will zoom in and you'll notice the strange way the game animates the speaking characters. Instead of using full-fledged video for the actors, the developers instead opted to use a selection of still shots put together to signify a speaking motion. It does look a bit strange at first, but you do get used to it and it doesn't detract from the game at all. Even with these strange speaking motions, you'll notice that the visuals are fantastic. Everything looks authentic to the time frame. The only problem with the graphics that I've noticed in this game is that they won't come completely into focus until you stop for a second. It's not a huge issue, and more of a minor inconvenience, but it is present in the game and worth mentioning. The characters you do meet in the game all have their own distinct personality, and many of them often require your help with something. Penny is your stern contact with the government agency and will point you in the right direction if you get lost. A woman having marital and financial issues named Georgia gives you a necklace early in the game and asks you to hold it for her. Steel Baron Andrew Conkling has a small issue with a runaway maid that took something valuable. Daisy Cashmore is your gossip queen, constantly talking your ear off. Sasha Barbican runs an art gallery and seems to have some darker connections. You even meet a Reverend Trout who asks you to donate to a mission overseas. Each character plays the part well, and thankfully the voice acting is pretty good, at least for the most part. One strange thing, which was probably just technology at its finest for a time, is that the audio has noticeable background static when the NPCs are talking. Again, it doesn't detract from the game, and you get used to it. So how do you start? Well, as I said, you have free reign over a large portion of the ship. You're not forced to do anything, but time will only pass when certain criteria are reached, like talking to a certain character or finding a certain item. Whenever you see a small cutscene of the Titanic cruising along, you'll know that time has passed. The game is not linear by any means. You can opt to skip certain tasks, but as a consequence, you may get a different ending, which is denoted by which items you carry off the Titanic with you. I'm not going to tell you which they are, but in the worst ending, you're killed when you get back to your London apartment. I have yet to see the best ending, because no matter how many times I try to follow a walkthrough, when I reach a certain point where I'm supposed to grab a painting, it's gone. I've read that you can acquire most of the items if you're quick enough while the ship is sinking. One day, I will complete this game with all essential items in my possession. One day. I haven't talked about how to move around yet. You use the arrow keys or the WASD keys to move and turn. The mouse acts as an interact button, and you click on objects to examine or take them, and click people to speak to them, when applicable. There's only one problem with movement, and it's not regarding the controls. Instead, when moving, the game flies forward quickly, like you're playing the Flash in a dead sprint. Although it does make moving around the ship easier and quicker, you can also fast travel to certain sections of your map. The fast movement just feels a bit unnatural. If you're like me and suck at adventure games, this one's not so bad. There's only a small handful of times where you can actually reach a game over. Naturally, when the ship is sinking, if you can't find a way to get on a lifeboat, you're screwed. But other than that, to my knowledge, there's only 2 other possible ways to die, and both involve getting shot by a character. Both of these death situations are easily avoidable though. Another great point in the game is the music. It fits the environment perfectly. When walking through the hallways where the cabins are, you get a softer, more pleasant song. In areas like the Grand Stairway, you get something that's a little bit more upbeat. When you're out on the ship's decks, there's no music at all, and you're instead treated to the sounds of the Atlantic Ocean. It's calming to walk around to this. Possibly the best and creepiest is the D-Deck music. It used to give me nightmares as a kid, and even now I get the chills while listening to it. I really hate going to D-Deck. I only really have 2 complaints about Titanic Adventure at a time. For one, the ship seems pretty barren. Yes, you have about 24 people you can talk to, but other than that, it's rare to see anyone actually walking around the ship, and the people that do are those plain, blah-looking characters. You would think that there's more people walking around. Secondly, the majority of the game is located on Disc 2. You use Disc 1 to install the game, and all of the sinking ship parts of the game are on the first disc as well. Other than that, everything is on Disc 2. In addition, there's no shortcut to load a previous game. Instead, what you have to do is start the game on Disc 1, bring up the menu, choose to load your game, and then switch back to Disc 2. You can't run the game off of the second CD. It's a small complaint, but when constantly playing and quitting the game, this gets annoying fast. There's also a tour that you can take of the ship, and of course that's on Disc 2 as well. By default, you only have 3 possible characters to talk to, but you can download the additional guides online. You used to have to go to Cyberflix's website, but since that doesn't exist anymore, you can go to the website on your screen to download the additional guides. If you're into the history of the Titanic, it's worth checking out. Titanic Adventure at the time may be a point-and-click game, but I'd consider it to be one that is geared towards everyone, regardless on the skill level to those players for these games. As I said, I typically suck at them, but I found myself to thoroughly enjoy this. It's a great representation of the ship, and you can't help but feel like you're walking around with the doomed patrons as you're playing. The story is extremely strong too, and with all the voice acting, you will feel engaged. It's definitely worth checking out if you're into the Titanic or point-and-click games. I'll have to warn you though, this game cannot run on newer machines, and I was forced to use Oracle's VirtualBox with an XP VM to get it to run. I knew there was a reason why I kept holding on to my XP CDs of old. Guess I found it. Final score? 8 out of 10. This is Reaper. Check me out on Facebook if you haven't yet. Now I know what you're waiting for. Facebook.com/ReapersReviews. Happy fragging.